Hello everyone. This is Supriya Manandhar. I am an artist and educator currently based in New York. I am a recent graduate of VCU Art Education, and I have been producing digital work that touches on social political topics relevant to Nepal. You may have seen some of my illustrations, infographics, and other visuals floating around on the net. I'm working towards engaging Newah youth with Newah issues, and in this regard, I am a proponent of using digital media to draw interest and disseminate information. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a few digital resources that are relevant to anyone interested in working with Newah issues. Some of these are projects you can also contribute towards, and I will be explaining that aspect as well. Let's start off with the Naval Learning website. This is a simple WordPress blog meant to be an inventory of Naval Learning resources. Now, I'm aware that there are already a few websites out there that have basic Naval Learning content for beginners, but they are either not well organized, do not contain a wholesome set of resources for learners, or incorporate multimedia. Being a learner myself, I used to feel frustrated by the lack of structured resources, so I decided to create and collect content as I went along, and compile the resources on this site. This site is aimed for the beginner learner, and especially one from a Nepali background who can read in Devanagari as well. Although we plan to structure it so that even those unable to read Devanagari can still navigate their way around the resources. So let's have a look around. Here's some introductory text for people to get acquainted with what Nepal Bhasa is. All the content is arranged by topic. Here's a page for vowels used in Nepal Bhasa. Now, when the Nayla script or Prachalit script Unicode is eventually released for online use, we'll be incorporating that into the site. For now, there's this placeholder where Prachalit script will eventually be used, wherever it just says test, test, test. There's the Devanagari and Roman alphabet phonetic version, and the audio files, to help learners enunciate the sounds as they go along. Now here's a similar page for Naval Bhasa greeting phrases, just basic ones. Some of this audio on the site is my own voice, while others are from contributors. So in this way, I plan to build and add more content. I also plan to add some relevant and interesting factoids on the site, such as this list of Newah place names, or this list of Newah surnames, which is quite long, and I think the number goes all the way down to 847, but it's being updated, so there might be more. This site is made possible by the contributions of many people, and this is going to be a growing list. A big shout out to Ruksana Kapali for linguistic guidance. People have allowed me to use some of their social media content, and some have even created content specifically for this site. I've also been trying to work on a series of illustrations that help learn Prachalit script. You can see this to get an idea of what I'm trying to achieve here. So I'm trying to blend the shape of the alphabet with the word so that learners can memorize the sound and the vocabulary word associated with it. So E, Ima, the black letters are part of the illustration. Since I'm a beginner myself, I'm always looking for people more fluent in Nepal Bhasa with feedback and contributions for site content. So, if you are also interested in helping out the Nepal Bhasa Learning website by sending some useful learning resources, here's what you can do. First, skim through the site to get an idea of what topics are covered so far. Then think about what subject you would like to create content around. Contact me at these email addresses to shoot me your idea. This way I can make sure everyone is working on separate topics. After that, draw up a list of words and phrases you want to include. Then make an audio recording in a quiet room with ample space between each narrated unit. Then email the audio file and the text to me, and I will edit, cut, and upload the resource to the site. Now let's talk about the Newah Archive Google Drive. This is a compilation of documents that relate to the Newah community in one way or another. This is also collaboratively pooled with the help of Newah youth from around the world. Mostly, these are texts of academic research and peer-reviewed articles about Newah issues. You'll find maps, news articles, government reports, census data, and all kinds of other resources. To show you a bit around, here is a collection inside the visual archive. Now here's a folder of images that show Newah people or snapshots of Newah life taken by Peace Corps volunteers in Nepal. all the way back from 1963. These images were graciously provided by the Peace Corps image database. And then here are some text about Newah architecture, for example. A lot of the documents are still in the unsorted folder because our volunteer virtual librarian is still going through most of them. However, it's still a very big collection of useful documents. The whole point of this is to have a ready inventory of Newah resources for anyone starting out the research or just looking to know more about a certain related topic. If you have any interesting documents you would like to put up here, please email nayla.archive@gmail.com. You can also access this folder to check the documents yourself. You can do so by accessing the URL for this. The original URL is very long, so instead here is a shortened version that you can use to access the folder online. Next, I'll talk a bit about Google Earth. Now, Google Earth is a free software available for download. There's a lot of detail available on Google Earth, and I've been using it to put the urbanization of Kathmandu Valley in context. So, for example, let's search for the region and then zoom in there. There are already some pins from a previous search, so I'm going to turn them off so that they don't clutter the map for now. And you can look around. Google Earth can help us keep track of changes on the landscape such as heritage renovation and road expansion. And I think that collecting documentation about these is just as important. So this is how far into the map you can zoom in. You can change the views and look around. You can use your keyboard. So if I can zoom out sufficiently and give you a 3D view of the valley. So this is what it looks like. I'm planning to look up on this the historical extent of the Nepal Mandal as well, on the basis of familiar landmarks of Newah-style homes and temples. The other interesting thing that you can do on this is access the Google Map timeline. So I'm going to place it at this level of zoom. We're looking at the southern part of the ring road by Lalitpur. And you can click on this button and it brings up this slider. And you can access different images taken at different points in time. So scrolling back, you can see where new homes have appeared, what parts used to be farmland, and so on. So recently, I made a compilation of such before and after images around some historic Newah settlements of the valley. And this is the article. You can check the URL to visit it. You can use sliders there to see before and after. In the case of Kathmandu, there's an image going all the way back to 1983, and you can see how it's changed between then and 2017. And here's another one for Balambu, where you can see how many new houses have been added around the area. The other tool I would like to share here is Timeline.js. To use this, you have to visit the Timeline.js website and get their Google Sheet template. The instructions are on the page and it's really quite simple. You just have to take their template, put your data into the file, publish it online, acquire the link, bring it back to Timeline.js, and plug it in there, after which you will receive a link or embed code to either use directly or place on your own website. Now, using this, I've been building a timeline of Newah history that takes into account some landmark events. The primary goal of this timeline is not to be an exhaustive list of kings, temples, inscriptions, manuscripts, and so on and so forth, but rather a series of important events that provide insight into the dimensions of Newah existence over the years. Now, though events like the geological formation of Kathmandu Valley are not things concurrent with Newah Civilization, I've included it in the timeline since the story of the lake is such a fundamental part of the Newah mythos. I'm also including events that took place in other parts of the world as comparison points. I am continuing work on this and hope to make this timeline more fleshed out. To access this timeline, you can visit this shortened URL on the screen. The great thing I like about this timeline is that it shows durations in proportion, so you can see how long a certain event took place over, or how far back into the past certain historical events are in comparison to the present. Now, aside from that, a few other resources. The Noun Project, URL here, is a website that provides icon-style graphics for free or free with attribution. You can just search for any icon you need, and it shows you some options, which you can then download and use. Very helpful if you're making infographics or any PSAs. So here I'm searching for architecture, and it also includes some curated collections of similar looking graphics, so that you can use them to get a consistent look. Similarly, Click is a free online tool, or rather specifically ClickSense Cloud. It's an online tool for data visualization. Among their various options, I find their tree map the most helpful. So here we're going to access one of the data visualizations that I made. This is based on the budget report, and the information I extracted was population, area of the municipality, and population density. The size of the square or rectangle is the population, and the color is the population density. Tableau Public is another such alternative, and of course both the free versions of Tableau and Click come with some limitations, but I found that they're still quite usable. Similarly, I highly recommend the full Google suite of apps. They're very handy for collaborative work. Google Forms is a great way to take surveys and collect data. I hope that in the future, if more and more Newah activists start using such online tools, we can pool our efforts towards creating something truly comprehensive. An online Newah dictionary or a catalog of Newah manuscripts, interactive games based on Newah motifs, or short videos with subtitles for learning Naval Bhasa. All these are potential ideas for the future. Digital activism alone can only reach a limited demographic, but since so much of the Newah population is urban and can have access to the internet, I think that digital activism is still a worthwhile endeavor. I hope that the tools I discuss in this presentation have been helpful. For feedback or questions about this presentation, please email me at supriya.manandhar@gmail.com.